안녕하세요. 김윤수입니다. Saya Presiden Samsung Malaysia Electronic dan saya telah berada di Malaysia selama 3 tahun. I'd like to share some of the experience in Samsung. I've worked for Samsung more than 20 years. While I work for Samsung, I have a lot of fluent and different types of experience. Samsung gave me a lot of opportunity to work for overseas countries where I met different types of the people and I exposed to different types of culture where I learned a lot. That's actually uncountable asset which I have had while I'm in Samsung. So we opened the door. Why don't you join Samsung Electronic and spread your dream with us? I believe you can do it. Welcome to the Samsung story. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. As President Kim just mentioned to you, welcome to the Samsung story. Samsung is one of the world's largest technology company, but we are great not because of technology, but because of our people. Let me bring you through a short snapshot of who Samsung is and how we became who we are. We are an international company, a multinational that has close to 300,000 employees, 17 billion in R&D expenditure, and our sales is 200 billion USD last year, which is about 15% of Korea's GDP. In short, Samsung is a massive organization with technology at its core and people that drives it forward. As we move forward, this is the businesses that we are in. And they are split into three. First, consumer electronics. Second, IT and mobile communications. And three, device solutions. And within consumer electronics, we are then split into three as well. Our visual display, digital appliances, and health and medical equipment. But this is only one of our businesses. Let's go to the second. The second is our mobile communication business. And this is primarily split into two. One is the mobile business where wearables, hearables, as well as our mobile and anything that is associated in terms of the collateral to the mobile. While network business look at 4G and obviously the very current 5G. Yeah? So these are the main business of the IT and mobile communications division. What about the third one? This is where a lot of us don't really know that Samsung is in the memory business, in the semiconductor chip business. This is, and many people don't even know that we are number one ahead of Intel, because we never put Samsung inside. You always have Intel inside, but Samsung is global number one in terms of semiconductor chips, particularly mobile semiconductor chips. This is where in the memory business, LSI as well as foundry, where this is where the fabrication of those semiconductor is. As we move along, let's see how big we are. In the Fortune Global 500, we are 15th largest company globally with revenue over 200 billion, profits over 30 billion US dollars, and we are the 6th most valuable brand by the Interbrand in 2019. What else? Obviously, we are global number one in terms of mobile. 21% market share globally, with against Huawei of 18%. But we are number one in almost every segment that we operate in. What are the segments that we are number one in? TV. We are also number one in TV, 20% global market share against LG of 12%. What else are we number one in? Again, we are total number one in our digital home appliances as well, 21% versus LG at 15%. Yeah? Let's go to something more interesting. A lot of us think that Samsung is a technology company, is a hardware company, is a appliance manufacturer company. So marketing shouldn't be that high in our agenda. But think again. We are again global number one in marketing spend, 10.1 billion US dollars last year. The largest marketing spend in the world, comparable to the normal high marketing spend organizations like P&G and L'Oreal. Yeah? R&D. All of these need to be fundamental to our business is the innovation. Innovation is where our business needs to go into the future. This is where we, again, global number one in terms of R&D spend, 17 billion US dollars against Alphabet and Volkswagen. When it comes to innovation, its next one has to be in terms of patents. How do we compare with organizations in terms of number of patents that we file in the United States? Again, we are number one in terms of total patents granted against International Business Machines, IBM. Yeah? Now, let me talk to you a little bit about Samsung Malaysia in specific. We started in 1991. This is where we are, where KL branch was first opened, right until 2020, when we launched, 2019, when we launched our very first foldable phone last year, and we achieved 1 billion US dollars in sales. So this is how Samsung Malaysia has evolved over these 30 years. Now, how do we then compare against other organizations in terms of effectiveness? In terms of how well we manage the company and how much growth that we can achieve. These are some companies that you probably will hear in Graduan's live sessions. Some of these companies you are more familiar with, some of these companies you may not. But let's see where and how Samsung figures among these companies. Let's begin. These are all the banks. Profit against revenue per employee. So you have all the banks right here. Technically they are low revenue per employee because they have many employees, but they have reasonably high margins. Then the next. This is the telcos. Digi, Maxis, Axiata, right about in the middle. And next, Nestle and British Tobacco, these are FMCGs, big listed FMCG in the Bursa, in the middle, and then you have the real estate. Yeah? But what about the big GLCs? The big GLCs is next. You will look at, you have IAH, Tenaga National, BMW, and then you have Petronas here. Obviously, Petronas has high profit, and even revenue per employee is pretty high. And where is Samsung? Samsung has to be the last one, am I right? This is where Samsung is. The distance between Samsung and other organizations is massive. The gap is big simply because the model that we have, the innovation that we have, and the people that cruise this massive, massive technology brand globally. Enough about the company. What about the program, the talent pool? This is where our Samsung Management Associate Program comes into play. This is Samsung's flagship premium entry-level program for top talents, not only in Malaysia, but Malaysian talents everywhere. And not only Malaysians, every nationality. So as I come around here, let's bring you through some key ingredients of the program. Firstly, it's a 12-month program because we believe in short, sweet, succinct, concise, and compact. And every one of this, because we are in 74 countries, in every continent globally, we have one global assignment. To any of our 74 countries, 35 R&D centers and 7 design centers, ranging from Tokyo to India, to Toronto, to Mountain View in California, all the way to Tokyo. So these are some of the design centers and R&D centers that you can bring your career to the next level. Any discipline, any nationality, this is quintessentially multinational, quintessentially cross-border, quintessentially Samsung. What's more important and what's more is it's cooler. What's cool is this is not one program. This is a program that is customized, tailored, personalized only to you. Every single MAs, every single individual are atomized individual, unique atomized individual with unique original programs tailored only for you because no one else have exactly the same program. Next would be, what's more? You have a mentor that is an executive coach technically who help you succeed. Every associates are assigned someone that will help guide you, steer you, and make you a success because we invest in your success. But the elephant in the room is always, how much do we pay? How much do I get paid? Although I'm not a believer of getting just paid, I believe that as talents, we get paid through our experiences, we get paid through our development, we get paid through our growth in our career, but still, nevertheless, the elephant in the room is never ask for how much you get paid in an interview. I say, you gotta ask it as the first question. So, let me tell you where we are. We are at the 97th percentile of the market, which means we pay higher than 97% of companies that have the same program as us. So we are at the top 3%. This is how competitive we are in terms of remuneration and rewards. But all these pale in comparison to me is the most critical proposition. And that proposition is, you have a chance to change the world. Because Samsung changes lives and changes worlds. And how do we know that? Because over the last 50 years that we're in operations, we are innovating technology that make us live in a different way. Every year, we change at least 80 to 90 technology that transforms how we operate, how we work, how we play, and how we live. Be a part of a company that shapes the future. And I will leave you with one last message. We are always asked to be extraordinary. We are always asked to be different. We are always asked, you must do something that makes you stand out. In Samsung, we don't believe in standing out. We believe in standing apart. Not only standing out, but be so different, be so extraordinary that you become something that is totally different, that is totally uniquely you.
Hi, before we go into the questions, maybe what you can do is tell us a little bit about yourself so that the audience can relate to you better today.
안녕하세요. 저는 Cindy입니다. Hi, I'm Cindy, and I know how to speak Korean a little bit, not a lot. And I've worked with Samsung. I've joined the Samsung family like 3 years and 1 month to be exact. And if you guys are curious whether it is necessary to know Korean before you join Samsung, no, it is not, but it will be a plus point. And the reason why I know Korean is because I got the opportunity to study in university 4 years in Korea. So that's how I learned my Korean language.
Interesting. I think you've answered a lot of the questions out there that they will be posting. And it is good to know that you don't need to speak Korean before you join Samsung. But maybe tell us a little bit, what do you do on a daily basis and how much contact do you have with South Korean side?
Okay, well, what I can say is like when you work in Samsung Malaysia, I'm pretty sure that you won't have a boring day. It's always like a very dynamic, and every day is literally very interesting. You have a lot of new things coming in and you'll be busy with certain things. And as for, if you are in product marketing department, definitely you'll have close contact with your Korean GBM and also like a Korean counterpart on a daily basis. Yeah.
Well, you did mention that it's going to be a very tightly packed schedule. I think that's the concept that usually people have about Samsung. Long working hours, very difficult task. Is that actually true?
I think regarding the long working hour, it depends on individual on how efficient you are in managing your workload. And as for it literally depends on how efficient you manage your workload, and also like if there's any ad hoc situation happening. So sometimes we are required to work a longer hour, but it's not all the time. Yeah, it's not all the time.
So maybe tell us a little bit, what do you do on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, I'm from DA Digital Appliances department, and I'm currently working as a DA operation and GSCM manager. My department is actually under this team called product marketing. So under product marketing, on a daily basis, the product team, we actually from the whole supply chain, we have to plan before the product goes to consumer. We literally have to communicate with the production side and also get in touch with the sales and the market and align so that we could get ready and prepare our product to deliver it and to present it to the end consumer.
Well, I think that brings us to the next question, that there's a general misconception or conception saying that if assuming that I join Samsung, I'll be selling refrigerators or mobile phones. Mm-hmm. Is that actually true? Is there a truth to it?
I mean, if you are in our sales team, yeah, then it's your role to actually sell TV to not consumer but to our dealers and distributor. But in Samsung, we have lots more other opportunity available aside from selling TV and refrigerator. It's like, for instance, my team is product marketing. It's really a very interesting and dynamic team to be in. It's because like if you are in product marketing, you can oversee how a new product is being launched. It's literally like your baby, how you're gonna bring your baby into the Malaysia market and prepare, plan for this product to be launched, and to actually get it to the market, and then also like to the hands of the consumer, and you have the sense of accomplishment when you see some of your products is out there in the market or in someone's house. Yeah.
So I think it would be interesting to tell us what are the previous products that you have launched into the market.
Oh, that's interesting. Actually, I'm proud to say this as a Samsunger or Samsungian. Like recently, our digital appliances, we just launched a new product called Family Hub, and Family Hub is a side-by-side refrigerator, which is like a very innovative product. It's not just a normal refrigerator, but it's a refrigerator that would interact with the consumer itself. Imagine yourself like when you store your stuff in your refrigerator and you're cooking in the kitchen, but at the same time you could play Spotify or watch Korean drama while you're preparing all your stuff. So I think I'm 100% very confident to say that that's one of the best product we have currently in Malaysia right now for side-by-side refrigerator. You guys should check it out. You should check it out.
Well, that's cool. Now, I think the understanding of digital appliances may be different from company to company. Maybe tell us what exactly that we have, for the consumers out there in the Malaysian market.
For digital appliances, the main for consumer electronics, right? The main products that's under the consumer electronics is like TV, and TV is under home electronics, and digital appliances consist of ref, washer, aircon, CNC product, which is vacuum cleaner, and also microwave, like small cooking appliances.
Okay. I know out there in other countries, Samsung in other countries, they have different product offerings. Say for instance, the hairdresser, the one that cleans your, probably that dry cleans your clothes, your dresses, but it's actually not in Malaysia. How is it being determined on, what are the products that will be brought into Malaysian market?
That's a good question. Well, for this new hairdresser product, right, it's actually, this product was being launched in the Korean, specifically in the Korean market, because of the weather there. They have a cold climate, winter climate. So this product is specifically designed for a winter season country. But recently, the only country in Southeast Asia that's launching this product very soon is Singapore. For Malaysia's side, we are still doing some market research and getting some feedback from the markets to see that whether we want to bring in the product. So talking about new products, where it's not just like we bring in the product, like we literally have to study current market and the demand, and also we have to see whether that certain product suit what consumer needs. So after doing all the research, then we have also go through the whole planning to see whether it's cost effective to bring the product in, and finally, if it's like we normally will do a pre-planning, and if it's okay, then we'll bring in. And currently, regarding the hairdresser, we might be bringing it around next year, first quarter, if
That's great news to everyone. Now, I know that Samsung is the market leader for the TV segment, but I don't think I've heard that you have mentioned the TV. How is it being structured in Samsung? Do you take care of TV as well?
Market leader, I think Samsung, I'm very sad if you only know we are the market leader for TV actually. Samsung, we are also the market leader for refrigerator and washer as well. And to be frank, like I'm proud to be part of Samsung because we do carry the #1 product in the market. So So
But where is TV, parked at? Is it under digital appliances?
no, TV is part under home entertainment. It's called HE. So it's literally a different department, but it's under one umbrella, which is called consumer electronics.
Right, thank you, Cindy. Last question would be, what is your advice to the young talents out there that is still exploring of their career options?
My advice, I think, if you guys are looking for something which is dynamic and which is full of challenge, and looking for something which is dynamic and challenging and some place where they would provide you with a lot of opportunities, I think Samsung is the right place where you can try to apply and join us, because what I get from these 3 years and 1 month is just impressive. Oh my God.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for your time today.
Okay, thank you.
We are no longer defined by how we look, but by what we're looking for.
I want this little one to be safe and happy, whether I'm in or out.
I wish I could do more about how much plastic is wasted around the world.
I want the place I work in to be as environmentally minded as I am.
Quiero transformar y personalizar interiores sin restricciones.
Je veux pas chercher les dernières sneakers, je veux qu'elles me cherchent.
I used to love experimenting with food in the kitchen.
But now it's hard to find the time.
Jeg vil egentlig bare spise ting jeg dyrker selv. Hvorfor ikke?
I love checking my health, eating, checking my email.
I'd like to check in on her journey to school whilst I'm on my way to work. I want her future to be amazing.
Hi, maybe tell us a little bit more about yourself so that the audience can relate to you a bit better today.
Hi, my name is Waylon. I work in marketing. I was actually hired in to manage the A-series portfolio as well as tablet and content and services for communications. So I worked with various stakeholders. They will brief me about the product, and it's my job to advise them and work out a plan on how do I then go to market with these products.
Well, you mentioned specifically about A-series.
Yes.
Is it one of the segment? Is there more segments to just A-series?
So to the current Samsung mobile lineup, mobile devices lineup, there is a split between flagship devices, which is our Note series as well as our S series. The A series plays more of the mid-tier device range that caters to a larger segment, which is mostly your mass segment, right? And A pretty much stands for an awesome device. So that's one of our proposition for A. A is actually very crucial for the business because it's actually the #1 best-selling smartphone in the world. You may not know it, but it's actually the #1. So it's actually very important for a business. Even though what you might see in the limelight might be Note and S, they are great devices, but we don't compromise even on a mid-tier level with our awesome devices.
Sounds really awesome. Well, how long have you been at Samsung? Because your trove of knowledge seems like you've been here for ages. How long have you been at Samsung?
I was actually just hired in 1 month ago. What you're hearing from me is, I think, a personal passion that I have towards devices. My previous employments are pretty much complementary industries to a business like Samsung. So I actually came from a telecommunications company.
Well, as someone new in Samsung, what was the perception before you took up the offer?
I think the #1 biggest challenge is adapting to a Korean culture. What I then later on found out is that some people might perceive it as strict, but then we are working in an Asian environment. I think you should see it more as a form of respect towards your superiors, your seniors. I also believe that, I also understand that there is a lot of processes in place, but the thing is, what I believe is processes are there to actually protect you, but not limit you in what you can do. They are there for very specific reasons. If you understand the reasons, I think you can overcome it without any issue. So I think my experience so far, I think it's so far so good.
So I would say that the perception kinds of meet the reality, or it's completely, not coinciding at all.
I think it's a matter of perspective. If you choose to see it negatively, it could be that. But if you see it in a brighter light, you can see how that process supports you instead of how it stops you from getting where you want to go in your career.
Now, earlier you mentioned about the A series and also the flagships. Also understand that I think a few days ago, Samsung just launched the Galaxy Buds Live.
Yes.
And also the Samsung Z Fold 2. Do you take charge of the marketing for these, this segment of products as well?
Partially, yes. I think the Tab S7 would be something that I would oversee in terms of the go-to-market in Malaysia. What will happen is that there will be multiple phases. So what you've experienced during the Unpack is actually the pre-launch phase, right? And then there will be a launch phase in Malaysia. That's when the product will be available here. And then followed by a few months later, there will be a sustenance phase. The launch phase is pretty much taking what Global has given us, and then we would execute it in the market. But however, where our creativity stands out is when how do we then create a sustenance phase for the campaign? How do we then localize the product? How do we make it relevant to our Malaysian audience? So that's where a lot of people might think that we are just a copy and paste, but we are actually not. There's a lot of opportunity for us to really explore and deep dive within our own segment here in Malaysia.
Right. Thank you so much, Waylon.
Thank you.
For your
Thank you
time.
for having me. Thank you.
Look on the bright side, I'm taking it high. Look in the bright light, I'm losing my sight. I'm keeping it burning, I'm hotter than ice. I'm climbing the high rise, I'm sick of this hype. I'm bringing the heat and I can't stop.
Right. Thank you for being here with us today. I think for the audience to know you and to be comfortable with you today a little bit better, why don't you, introduce yourself to them?
Right, I go first, yeah? Ladies first. Hi, I'm Shida. I'm from Kuching, Sarawak. Okay, I'm actually I'm a management associate for Samsung Malaysia Electronics. Actually, we both are. We're the first batch for the company, and I studied psychology and language sciences from University College London.
I'm Suhan. I'm from Kedah, and as you said, we are both in the first batch of the management associate program. And I did material science in the University of Manchester.
Now, as a young talent in Samsung, does it occur to you that the perception of the brand has changed, from before you joined Samsung and after you joined Samsung?
It's certainly that is the case for me. To be honest, before I joined Samsung, when I was a student, I see Samsung in Malaysia as just a product brand, right? I know it's a South Korean company. I know it leads in the technology industry, but that's it. I didn't know they were hiring. I did not know that they were targeting, high quality students to onboard Samsung, right? So when I was in my final year, I went to Graduate Career Fair. I saw Samsung, and I was quite surprised that they came forward as an employer. And now that I'm here, I am certainly convinced that it's a company that really values its employees.
Yeah, I think one of the, I think before we joined Samsung, we all know Samsung as a brand, given how popular it is. But I think what really made the difference after I joined is that I think I really learned how to appreciate, Samsung a lot better. So, you know, like now that we are in the company, we're always looking at what the other competitors are offering, you know, what their products are. And really realize that Samsung is really a company that puts products and the quality of these products first. So, you know, in our smartphones, we use the best displays, the best batteries, the best chips, the best memory.
Yep.
And, you know, it really made you realize that, you know, Samsung is a company that really put product first. And we are really one of the, you know, best makers of these premium products on the market, I would say. Yeah.
Now, Suhan, were you also recruited from the from the Graduan
Yes,
Career Fair?
yes.
Now, to the both of you, there are many more, I think about 55 more different companies at the fair last year. Why did you choose Samsung in particular?
I mean, why not? Right. It's okay for my own. In my point of view, right? It's an Asian company. It's the only Asian company that is ranked top 6 in terms of its brand value worldwide, right? And looking back, how Samsung started off, they were manufacturing noodles, right? And look at where we are now, right? We're leading the technology industry, and not only that, we also have our presence in heavy industries, right? We helped in building Burj Khalifa, and now we're helping Malaysia to build PNB, the PNB building, and you know it's really a no-brainer decision. You know, the brand itself is rather strong for me to actually say, you know what, just say yes. Why not?
Yeah, and I think for me, personally, I've always had a passion for, you know, technology and consumer tech in particular. And I would say that, you know, no companies out there do it better than Samsung. But I think that some of the things that really stood out to me also was that, you know, at the career fair, having talked to some of the HR representatives from Samsung, I could really tell that they care deeply about this program, and that I felt that, you know, if I entered this program, I'll really be monitored. You know, I'll be, you know, I feel that my progress will definitely be taken care of. And I think another thing that really stood out to me was that Samsung offered this, as part of this program, we have an international assignment that I think that, you know, no other companies at Graduan really offered. And, you know, that's an opportunity that I think is like too hard to pass on.
Yep.
So yeah.
Same. Agree.
I think one of you mentioned that it is an Asian company. Understand that, you know, out there, a lot of other MNCs are generally Western MNCs. And there's a fear towards Asian MNC. Now, the question is, how do you see yourself, you know, fitting into the culture of an Asian MNC, a large Asian MNC like Samsung?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you mentioned the Asian aspect because, yeah, as you said, most people are, you know, used to the Western style of MNCs. And make no mistake, Samsung is definitely a Korean MNC, and it definitely has its Korean heritage DNA inside the company itself. But while I think many people are scared that will make a very strict and uptight environment, that's really not the case at all here. You know, like in my 9 months here, I don't think I've even run into a single time where I faced an issue that I had no idea how to tackle and that I had no one to turn to, you know, feeling stuck. So like, I think that is really a testament to how unified and connected the workforce here is, you know, to work as a team. So yeah, I think anyone with that worry can, you know, you can forget about that because like, it's not really an issue at all.
Come join us and you'll see.
Now, I think the Management Associate program is a very, how should I say, an elite bunch of young talents that are being hired. How is it different compared to a normal, you know, fresh graduate hire in Samsung?
Right. Well, the differences really starts from the selection process, right? In normal hire, you would, you know, go for interviews, or you go for phone interviews and then, you know, in-person interviews, and that's it, right? You get the offer letter. But because the program itself, the intent of this program is to actually accelerate the potential, right? To see if this person is worth the, you know, the investment. You know, you want to develop it to become the next, how do you say, to be the next key leaders for that particular company, right? So in order for you to be able to get this bunch of talents, we need to be able to stream the kinds of traits that the company needs, right? So that's hence the selection itself is very vigorous. It's not just interview, we have assessment centers. And after that assessment center, once you're on board, your career journey itself is totally different. Your learning opportunities are vast. You get to be mentored by, high caliber seniors. Not only that, you also get to be, to be involved in projects that brings impacts to people around you, right? Like for ourselves, we have been, involved in the assessment center for the next SMAP batch. So I think that's why it's very different, because the intent of the program itself, we needed high quality talents. So in order for us to be able to scout these high quality talents, that's where, that's how everything is designed.
Is it on rotation basis where you go to different departments?
Yeah, so I think one of the core features of this program is that we are on rotation for the first year. And what that means is that for every few months, you'll be rotated to a different department to work on an entirely different thing with different people. And I think this rotational aspect is really one of the most important features of this program, because just being able to work in different departments really give you the cross-departmental knowledge that will allow you to excel in wherever you are placed in permanently next time. It's an important thing because, like, let's say right now I'm in retail. My knowledge of product and my knowledge of the content and services from my previous rotations, it really does help me make better decisions and understand why I'm making the decisions I am better. So I think, yeah, that's one of the one of my favorite things about this program, I would say.
And I think this program really helps fresh graduates as well, especially those who do not know what they want to pursue after studies. Because of this rotational basis, right, you get to see what are the things out there that were not introduced to you when you were a student.
It's like a tasting platter kind of.
Yes. So because you have that opportunity to actually see how the real working world operates, you get to know what works and what doesn't. So it's an opportunity for you to discover without actually having to
switch jobs.
Switch jobs essentially. Yeah.
Now, from your rotations and your experience in Samsung, what is the thing or what are the things that surprises you the most?
Well, I think one of the most surprising thing is that it's really the level of responsibility I felt was on me just within like a few short months after I joined the company. So one of the big things I first worked on was the S20 launch, and I think at that time I was only maybe 3 or 4 months into the company, and I was really helping to make decisions that would really alter the course of this product in our Malaysian market, like things that really determine the success of this product. So that was really surprising to me, given how much responsibility is given so early. But I think that really is is what she said, accelerated learning. I think it achieved that goal, giving us this much responsibility. Yeah.
All right. So Shida, in your opinion, what do you think is the fundamental thing, the absolutely most required for someone to excel in Samsung?
The fundamental things, yeah? Well, there's no one thing that stands alone, to be honest, but I would say the first is for you to remain inquisitive, right? Talents have to be curious of things around them, especially when you're a fresh graduate. You just step into a working world. Everything is new, and it's okay to not know everything. But I think when that curiosity has to be coupled with courage. If you are not courageous enough to actually explore what you do not know, it would not give you answers to whatever you are wondering about. Yeah. So these two, I think, should come in sync.
Now, there must be, a lot of hurdles before you actually get to join Samsung as a management associate. What do you think about the assessment center that you've been through, before the program?
It is certainly tough. I'm not lying. But you know, this particular this toughness that they introduced in assessment center, it's not implemented without a reason, right? Again, as what I've said previously, it's something, you know, to be able to onboard talents into this very intensive program, we need high quality talents, right? The traits are very, how do you say, are very niche, right? And to be able to stream the traits, to identify the traits in the pool of talents, hence that's where the assessment is.
Yeah, I think I think Shida really raised the important point there, in that I feel like the assessment center is designed very purposefully. You know, I think we've both been to a few assessment centers out there, and a lot of them are really, they are not built to order. They are, you know, they are like not tailor-made for the company itself. It's just like, you know, go in, do a case study. It's not related to what you're doing at all.
Yes.
But for Samsung, you can really tell from the assessment center that it is a company that put technology at its forefront. You know, the drive to make things better and to make new things. And every part of the assessment center is in some way tied to this drive for technology, which I think was a really interesting point. And I think still the most important point is that it's pretty difficult. And it's multifaceted. You know, we played the board game, we had a debate, we had some discussing some ethical framework. There's really all kinds of stuff that will be thrown at you. And yeah, I think it's a pretty
really
cool
surprising.
experience.
It's a really cool experience indeed. It's surprising. There are elements of surprise in the assessment center, but overall it is, you know, as a fresh graduate, I think you should try. Don't shy away from assessment centers.
Now, to the young talents out there, this will be the final question to you. What would be your advice for someone that is trying to get into the Samsung Management Associate program?
I guess given that we are both in here, our advice would be fairly valuable.
Yes.
I would say that from what I went through, I really don't think that Samsung is really looking for any particular trait in particular. Oh, it's like, can this person talk well? Or can this person think well? I don't think it's not so specific. It's really more of looking for a person who really has a passion for what they're doing. In that, if I give you a problem and you tell me that you can't solve it, the person with passion will always try to find an alternative way. You know, we'll always try to work on the problem until we see the end result. I think that's really the biggest differentiator here. Are you someone who is, you know, active and proactive, you know, in trying to make sure that the results are delivered? Or are you someone that once the task is delivered to you, you say, oh, yes or no, and that's the end of the story? I think like, you want to get into Samsung, you should make sure that you're in the first category of people. Yeah.
I think for me again, for candidates out there, for talents out there who wishes to, you know, join Samsung Management Associate Program, firstly, I think for the most importantly is, you know, read a lot, right? I mean, it's not just for Samsung, to be honest. I think it's for every employers out there. You know, in order for you to excel, in order for you to be able to contribute, you need to be knowledgeable, okay? And there's no other way to be, you know, to gain knowledge other than to read more, right? You won't lose stuff. You won't lose anything when you read. So, yeah, read, guys.
Read.
Please read, so that you excel in the assessment centers also.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, for being with us, and I believe that the talents out there would really enjoy, you know, your response to them, and this would definitely give them, you know, some tips for them to excel for their future in Samsung. Well, thank you so much again, and
thanks.
Have a great day.
You have heard from President Kim, myself earlier, as well as our talents about the Samsung story. But you may not have all the answers that you seek. Join us next in our Q&A session. But before that, let me bring you through the visual narrative of how Samsung is not just about technology. We are about using the technology to change the world and make lives better. Join me.
The effects of climate change on the environment.
This taking that medal, the champion. Once I get moving, can't stop what I'm doing if you don't think that I'm a pro. And I'm coming up in the door, kicking the door.
Low visibility in here.
Ready for war, kicking the door. No one's gonna stop me. Yeah, I'ma get it.
Eyes on the casualty.
Copy that.
No one's gonna stop me. I'm gonna kicking the door, kicking the door, kicking the door. No one's gonna stop me. I'm gonna kicking the door, kicking the door, kicking the door. No one's gonna stop me. I'm gonna kicking the door, kicking the door, kicking the door. No one's gonna stop me.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Graduan Live with Samsung session. We are now with the MEs back on stage again because I realized that there are a lot of questions regarding the Samsung Management Associate Program. So we have invited them back to the Q&A session in which we call Seek and You Shall Find. Now, if you have any questions at all, please send it on to the Q&A site. I'm checking it all the time. And we are going to answer your questions, those that we didn't pick up in the earlier session. We will actually answer them right now. Now, first of all, let me introduce myself. This is the first time that I'm coming back on the camera. Before this, I was behind the camera. My name is Shu. I will be your moderator for today. I am actually leading the HR strategy and engagement side, in which we do a little bit of employer branding, internal and external branding, and some of the other HR strategy projects. If you can't remember my name, yeah, Shu, whichever that works. That's how I always introduce myself. It's going to be the same live. Now, I think it is certainly very important for you to understand the program before you actually join. Well, I understand this as well because I was a management trainee back then, coming from another company, definitely not Samsung, so which is why we hold the same passion. I personally hold the same passion for the program, the Samsung Management Associate Program. So therefore, we want you to know what is the best for you. So I think, yeah, we have the two of them here. Later on, Feng Tuan, or also known as FT, will be able to come live because it's on the way. Coming from another location right now, probably running. And so we will actually get them to answer. I think one of the questions that wasn't being picked up is that what is the expectation? I think I'm going to just open up to the both of them right now. So I think I'll ask Suhan first. So what do you think is the greatest expectation, or what are the levels of expectation for a management associate in Samsung?
Well, I think the nature of our rotational program means that I think all of our different bosses, they have different expectations of us, but generally they expect a very high quality of, level of work. Mm-hmm. I think it's not just in terms of being able to work by yourself, but the level of the degree to which you can work well with other people. I think that's something they really look for in a management associate, and yeah, generally just high quality work.
Yeah.
What about you, Shida?
Well, I do I agree with that statement as well, but I would like to add on. I think the greatest expectation is because you are rotating across departments, right? And obviously, in each department have a different set of tasks, and the bosses would expect you to do, greater than or better, essentially, than normal hires. And because before you enter the program itself, the selection process itself is very vigorous, right? So certainly there's a set of expectations that is greater than, looking for quality essentially. So yeah, I would say that's the greatest expectations. Yeah.
I think also to answer some of the questions being posed up here is there a lifelong learning that throughout the program or throughout your employment here with us in Samsung? Certainly, we do care about your development. I think that's my personal experience as well. And in Samsung as a MNC, we don't only train in Malaysia. Of course, there are opportunities for you to go all the way to South Korea, like the Directors Program and all the Great Leaders Program, etc. It's actually built in the leadership center that is based in South Korea, and all the designs of these things are actually built here in Samsung internally. So I think we don't expect them, as Samsung Management Associates, just to deliver quality work, just by expecting you to do so.
Yep.
Do you find any challenges, in the duration of your rotations thus far? Any challenges that you couldn't, address, or are there any thing that you find challenging thus far?
I think one thing that I find challenging is because of myself. I'm holding back because when I came into Samsung, I was expected. My self expectation is that I need to know everything, right? But obviously, when you come into work, you do not know that. You do not know what you do not know, right? So I think the challenging part is to actually battling that kind of mindset and trying to say that, actually I need help in doing all this set of novel tasks. And essentially, I think another set of challenges that I feel during this program, when I'm in this program, is trying to excel in the set of assignments that you're assigned to. But obviously, because in this program you're not left alone. There's a development structure that you're assigned to, and obviously this is designed by people who has experience in nurturing talents to become future leaders for the organization, right? So yeah, those are the challenges that I have, but it's rectified. It's not that I am left alone to face these challenges. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Suhan?
Well, I think a lot of the challenges that I face are, just by the fact that this is my first job, I think there's a lot of things that, really caught us by surprise.
Yeah.
I think just the simple thing of being able to communicate effectively and reporting what you have done to your superiors, I think that's not something that really comes naturally. For you to know that, hey, for everything that you do, you're supposed to let someone know, what's been done. And I think another thing about this program is that, as you all know, they take in any degree. And for me right now, I'm working in a capacity that's not related to my degree at all. I studied engineering.
Yep.
And I think that obviously brings a lot of unique challenges in the sense that I had no groundwork at all for the work that I'm doing. But conversely, I think it is extremely satisfying when you really get the ropes of whatever you're doing. And I think overcoming the challenges is it's worth it.
Actually, to be honest, right? I mean, you studied engineering back then.
Yes.
When you decide to join Samsung, did you ever thought that, I want to be an engineer? Or, that you think that, let me just try something else, What was your thought back then?
I think I knew before I joined that I'm probably not going to be working in the engineering capacity when I joined here, given that, that's not where the bulk of the work is in Malaysia. But I think, nevertheless, with the product being such a technology-centric product, what I learned in engineering and the passion I have for technology, more or less, it still comes into into play during my day-to-day work here. So I think it's I might not be doing engineering, but every day I'm reading about stuff, semiconductors, memory, it's all, I would say, related to engineering in the end. Yeah.
Actually, for Shida, same question, similar.
Yeah.
Back then, when I graduated, I graduated in journalism and political science from UC Tukar Abdul Rahman. And yourself, when you graduate with a psychology degree, did you ever thought that, whatever that I've learned, thus far, is going to be applied in my everyday work from now on? Was that the thought, and did that, fit into the expectation that you had?
Well, obviously, initially, before I joined Samsung, right, I didn't know that, it's just a product brand, right? It's a very technology-centric brand. So I was thinking, where should a psychology student, would be able to contribute significantly to the organization, right? But essentially, the reason why I'm saying yes was because, why not open up to whatever choices there is out there, right? Whatever that university is teaching you, I guess what's important is to be able to improve in your soft skills, not just the hard skills. And essentially, from a psychology perspective, right? When you're working with a team, when you're working with an organization, you need to be able to seamlessly integrate with the culture. So I think from a psychology perspective, it helped because I get to see, you know, like if this doesn't work, perhaps I can approach this person in this way so that I get things done. Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to answer one of the questions here regarding international assignment. I think the Samsung Management Associate program is actually a revamped program of an older program. So the Samsung Management Associate program only came live about a year ago, so they are technically the first batch. And it is also the first batch that is being offered the international assignment. Now, unfortunately, you know, we're facing the pandemic right now, so therefore the first batch wasn't able to, you know, to go for their international assignment. And even if we want to send them there, I don't think it is right. I mean, I can't answer to their parents if assuming that, you know, anything happens to them. It's just not right for a company to do so, although we really want them to go overseas. Now, just a little bit on the international assignment. I think it is also to know that you can actually go to any countries, any of the 74 countries that, you know, Samsung electronics are in, but depending on whether there is a business requirement, whether there is a business need, or whether it is business justified. That means it is right for the company and also at the same time for your development. Yeah, so that is about the international assignment. And also Vanessa asked one question about the advantages of an Asian corporate culture. I think there's a lot about Asian, you know, corporate cultures going on at this point of time. Back then, it is most of the MNCs out there are very Western, very European. But now it is the boom of the Asian MNCs, and we are sitting in one right now. So Samsung as a, you know, as an MNC, an Asian MNC, what do you think is, you know, the cool thing about it, or what do you think the advantage of it? It can be, you know, prudence or anything like that, but yeah, maybe you can just answer some of the questions that they have right there.
I think something about, you know, like I would say what people call it like woke culture nowadays is kind of like, you know, going about you know, being able to decide what you want to do, the freedom of everything. I mean, I agree with all that, but you know, sometimes I do see the beauty in structure and I think people hate this word, but hierarchy. But I think structure and hierarchy is actually something that makes organizations really effective when it's done well. You know, and like I think the fact that Samsung being an Asian company, MNC, you can see some of the Asian kind of DNA inside, and you know, I feel that things are done very effectively and efficiently here. And I think that's something that, you know, might not always be present in a company that, you know, there's, let's say, that doesn't really know how to make use of this structure well, is what I think.
I think people are worried too much about, you know, the stereotype out there without them being actually joining the company yet. So my advice would be don't worry too much about it. Obviously, this particular structure has worked for Samsung, sorry. I mean, we're the 6th most valuable brands in the world right now, so obviously it worked, right? So
certainly.
Right? So, you know, don't worry too much about that, but you know, just believe in the whole learning process. You know, it's there for a reason. It's not there to just, you know, to put you through hardships, just to, you know, sabotage you or whatnot. So yeah.
Right. We'd like to invite FT back on stage right now. So, FT, do you mind to join us in the frame right now?
Hi guys.
Hello.
See you again.
Welcome back to the show.
All good?
Good.
Yeah, I think after you backtracked a little bit to the question of Asian MNCs, what are your views on that?
Asian
I think
MNCs?
you came from multiple industries, from, you know, PLCs, from GLCs, from, you know, international companies or international MNCs like Coca-Cola, B. Braun, European. So what is your take on the Asian culture in Samsung?
Well, we are a massive multinational. From a structural perspective, we are no different from the Coca-Colas of the world, the British American Tobaccos of the world, or the B. Browns of the world, or any other MNCs. I think the biggest difference is we are still quintessentially Asian. So tradition is important. The need to respect each other, it's very, very pronounced. The fact that we managed to grow to such a size despite having these supposedly disadvantages, candor, liberal, people just are pretty independent. It's not exactly the values that brought us where we are, and we are proud of that. I think there is no difference in terms of efficiency or effectiveness. But I think the difference is this: we are Asian, we should be proud to be Asian, and we can be as successful, if not more. We are, the 15th largest company in terms of revenue in the Fortune 50. If I'm not mistaken, I think we are 6th largest brand in the world, and that not despite of, but because of, we are an Asian company. I think it's just a matter of time before we scale up further to maybe 3rd, 2nd, or even the largest, most valuable brand in the world.
Thank you. There's one question here that is pretty interesting. Yeah? Let me just read it out. Can you share how you balance work and personal life in Samsung, and how Samsung makes sure that all the employees have a good work and life balance? Yeah. So my question is this: we don't call it work-life balance; we call it work-life integration. How do we ensure is that my job is to ensure that, because my job ensures the engagement of the people, ensures that people are happy within Samsung, everyone. How we actually work, how do we integrate work and life is that we want you to love your job. See, for instance, there's another question that says that Mr. Koo and Shida is very positive. I think the reason that they are positive is because they are engaged. Engagement doesn't come from being happy, or you can go back on time, or simply being oh, I get a lot of food for free. It's not just that. It is, how do you enjoy your work, and that comes from passion. And I think I'm not sure about them, but certainly I'm not sure. Maybe this will be the question: do you feel that the company cares for you or your development within the program?
I think certainly. So I think what I really want, sometimes it's not just about a company that cares about me, but I feel like if the company cares about its purpose, which Samsung I think definitely does, then I think that's a company that I am very happy to devote my time to. When I see that a company and the people within it are really caring about how well they can make their products and how successful it can be, I'm doubly as excited to make sure that goal comes true. Essentially what I'm saying is that I think what I really enjoy is a job well done. I enjoy doing a job well. Yeah.
Also, trust me, he's not hard selling. What about you, Shida?
Well, I think for me, essentially because Samsung is a very result-driven company, right? Obviously, you want something, of a high-quality deliverables from your employees. But then again, you have to be able to take care of your employees to make them, to keep them engaged so that the passion is always there, right? So within this program itself, we have been assigned to multiple tasks that we do not know that can we even do it? Can we even execute this as what is expected of us, right? But I think that's where the fulfillment, the satisfied feeling is, because when you are able to do something that you do not know and execute it well, you feel satisfied, right? You feel like you have improved in some ways that you do not know that it is something that need to be improved on.
Okay, I'm going to turn this around for FT. How do you ensure that your passion for the people is being translated down into the policies that governs, the operations within Samsung Malaysia Electronics? I believe that the passion is there, but how do you translate it down?
Well, I don't think you need any translation. If the passion is there, it will reflect in the actions, in the execution, in the policies that we will put in place. For example, these guys, they are live now, no script, obviously, can't be rehearsed. I wish I could, but they did not rehearse this. So that passion needs to come across. Now I believe if, let's say, we do the right thing from the beginning, means we put the right fundamentals, the right philosophies, the right values in terms of what we want to do. Interestingly is, I take Suan's point on purpose. What brings and what continues to engage and sustain engagement is when you have meaning to what you're doing. Whatever that you're doing has some purpose. And for Samsung, the purpose is not to be successful. The purpose is to change how we live. It's to change one life at one time. It's to change how we operate, how we exist. Now, when we have this as a greater purpose, everything that we do is based on that philosophy, then the people that we bring in will be aligned to this particular purpose. That can be as high as the CEO, as the chairman, and as low as a management associate that is less than 6 months old. So this translates into what we do, translate into what we believe in, and more importantly, it translates into what we can deliver, not for ourselves, but we deliver to our customers, to our stakeholders, and most importantly is to the world. So I think, that would be a very long answer to a very short question.
Thank you, FT. I think that brings us to the question of, how life or how, the entire world has changed, throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, and how Samsung actually believes in change. And actually, the essence is do what you can, it's on my t-shirt. Ensuring that our customers and our people that uses our products will be able to do what they generally can't before they switch over. Now, I think the COVID-19 has changed the entire world. It is very difficult for us to go back to the normal one before the vaccine is found. I think the question is, how does Samsung take it? Do we take it, like, oh yeah, everyone just go on leave, or everyone is just gonna, to be moved back, at home, working from home? Is job security, the first thing in mind? I think I am glad to say that, I am in Samsung right now. We didn't cut any people. We didn't retrench any people. We didn't have any form of salary cuts. And I think I'm going to direct this question to FT. Do you think that job security is of absolute essence moving forward after the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, now I think that's a very loaded question. Do I believe job security is the absolute importance? Yes, I do. But let me rephrase or reframe, what Shu has asked me. COVID-19 has actually changed, but it has not transformed how we believe and what we believe in. It probably has accelerated what we should be doing, but those are stuff that we have been doing before. But if I put and distill this into, something that's a bit simpler to understand, Samsung's primary belief is protecting the well-being of our people. Every life in Samsung is extremely, extremely invaluable. So protecting well-being is the first P. The second P is protecting the livelihood. This is where job security comes in. Protecting the livelihood so that our people can continue to earn a good living, can put food on the table, can buy medicine for their elderly parents, can put their child and kids to school. So these are absolute importance. Only then, if we have protected the well-being of our people, protected the livelihood of our people, then the business will take care of itself. The third one will be protecting our business. Because without the business, obviously, there is no case on how we can protect the well-being. So it is a closed loop. So 3 Ps, very simple: protect well-being, protect livelihood, and protect business. So with these 3 fundamental pillars that are put in place, it allows us to put in the right policies, the right practices to ensure that not only we can weather through this COVID-19 storm, but we will emerge from it stronger, we will emerge from it more resilient, and more importantly, we'll emerge from it more successfully.
And I have no doubts that Samsung is able to do that. Having insights being in Samsung. So maybe when you join us, then you will be able to see how we actually progress from the pre-COVID-19 era into the COVID-19 era, and also at the same time now we are in the recovery mode while staying resilient to ensure that business continues to run. Now I think the next question would be, yeah, I think that's a good question. Is there a hiring cycle? I don't think we have actually answered that in the previous round. There is no hiring cycle for the Samsung Management Associate Program. We hire all year round. That means if you are a UK graduate or a Malaysian graduate, you can always join somewhere in September. If you are an Australian graduate, then you can always join in your summer, in the Southern Hemisphere. So it's open all year round. You can apply all year round as well. It is live, I think, almost 365 days on Graduan. You can always, log in, put all your applications into graduan.com. Yeah. So I think we are coming to an end. We can actually afford to have one more question. I think this one I will ask FT because previously it was mentioned by the two MEs. Yeah. I will let them answer later on, but I think we want to tap into FT's mind. What is your ideal criteria of a management associate?
Well, I can't remember somebody else's call. I actually was looking through some of the questions, and one of my staff actually said, FT likes engineers, and somebody asked, is FT Financial Times? No, my name is Feng Tuan. I'm not Financial Times, but fine. I'm pretty flattered as well. If you call FT as Financial Times, I think Financial Times it's more famous than I am, so that's fine as well. Well, by the way, engineer is not one of the criteria that I look for, although I do like engineers, unfortunately, or fortunately, because I'm an engineer by training. Maybe I start on with that. What attracts me to engineers? First, logic. Second, they are structured. Third, they are always looking for different ways to solve problems because you need to solve very novel problems. Yeah? You need to be resourceful. You need to be creative. You need to be inquisitive. You ask questions. How do I solve this problem in a better way? And so on. But this is not just specific to engineers. I'm just saying there's an archetype of engineering. We love all kinds of background. And that is also something that is the criteria that I'm looking for. Diversity. Diversity of thought, diversity of the ability to articulate, the diversity of background, the diversity of just ideas. Yeah? And probably the third is a bit difficult for me to call it a skill or a trade. I look for energy. If you feel that the energy is coming out from them, is because they pass our assessment center. Because without energy and endurance or stamina, you will not be able to get past. I've done this a long time, not only in Samsung, but in my previous lives. And the question that always been asked to me is always, how do I successfully navigate through assessment centers? Well, I give you 3 tips. To pass Samsung's assessment center is very simple. Number 1, don't prepare. Don't prepare, because the more you prepare, the more you will be too nervous and you'll fail. Second, be yourself. Technically, don't prepare as well. Be yourself. Just bring your best that day and don't fake it because you can't. And third is bring your energy. Yeah, you need to bring that energy, and that energy not just just participating, but energy in terms of your ability to engage, ability to build teamship, your relentlessness in trying to solve a problem, your perseverance when you are given almost impossible tasks to do, and be resilient. Yeah, you will be thrown a lot of curveballs, and those curveballs, I suggest you just take those curveballs, juggle them, and then give it back in a different form, and just the response is the most important. So, but if I have only one tip, just be yourself. Yeah, just be yourself and be authentic, and just chill, and you'll be all right.
There's one thing every single Malaysian student would understand. It's called, before the exams, you ask, Cikgu, ada soalan bocor tak? This is soalan bocor from the chief examiner. So write it down, put it into your notes or whatever. Write it down in your notes.
And our assessment is you can bring your laptop, you can bring your Google, you can bring whatever. It is the ultimate open book exam. There is no, it's novel, it's original. You are more than welcome to go to Google. You can Google whatever you want. You can wiki whatever you want. Actually, I welcome it. I think it will help you be better, and it will help our case to be better. But the answer is not there. Yeah, the answer is never there. The answer is always in between there and you. So there's this big space in between Google and Wiki and you. You have to get there, and you have to redact Google to where we are, and that is the challenge. So, well, we hope that you will join us. Enjoy. We can't take all of you, but at the very least, I'm just very honest. We can't take all of you. That one, I'll leave it to the other companies to help us with them as well. Maybank is coming tomorrow. I'm doing it for Graduan, and Nestle is coming the day after. All of us are looking to help Malaysians, students, to help Malaysians in these difficult times, so that we are able to onboard all of you and have a good job and have a good learning experience with all these multinational and big organizations in Malaysia.
All right, with that, we have come to the end of our session. Thank you so much to FT being here with us, Shida, and also Suhan. It's certainly not easy to get everyone, in this particular platform where you can actually answer to some of the questions out there. Certainly I think this Seek and You Shall Find session is certain. I hope that it has answered some of your questions, or if not all of your questions that you have posted online. Thank you so much for being with us in this Graduan Live with Samsung program, and we hope to see you soon, if not physically, in the next live session. Thank you very much. See you next time.